Hey there, welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Time for a little space update. And I love this guest because she has a direct connection to space history. Danielle Dallas Russa, founder of Back to Space, back on the James Show. Welcome back. And for those,
Thank you.
for those,
to be here again.
Yes, for those other space nerds, what's your connection to the moon?
My connection to the moon is that my grandfather was on Apollo 14, and as a result, I grew up around astronauts my whole life and worked at NASA myself.
How cool is that? Her grandfather's an astronaut.
I thought everyone's grandfathers were astronauts until I was a little bit older and realized that that was not normal.
Yeah, well, my grandfather's not nearly accomplished or historic, but you have a natural connection to space, and I just have a space nerd inside of me. I'm really concerned about these guys that went up for, what was it supposed to be, an 8-day trip on the new experimental Boeing craft, and now they're going to be there for like 8 months. What's the update on that?
Yeah, so there was a little bit of let me just give you the backstory, actually.
Please do.
Because the Boeing Starliner was supposed to launch and be operational by 2017. And indeed, it was the first flight, first crewed flight, and it is 2024. So you could say they are really, really behind. And so NASA awarded Boeing at the beginning $4.2 billion as a part of the commercial crew program to develop the Starliner. Okay, that's the backstory. They're late, and it's really, really expensive. They go up to the International Space Station. They have some issues. They have some issues with the docking, including like thruster failure and also helium leaks, which is never good. They boarded the ISS, and then there was this big deliberation. What are we going to do? Are they going to go back on the Starliner, or are they going to wait? And they ran a bunch of tests, and they just decided it is not worth it. They are going to come back down in 2025. So they will have spent, I think it's like 240 days straight in space, which has been done before, but that is definitely not what they prepared for.
No, they're going to miss Christmas. You know, it sounds so weird when you say this goes back to 2017 was the original launch date. And you think about what's been going on in the Boeing world, generally speaking, since 2017, and it hadn't been good. They had like the Ethiopia air crash where the auto takeoff was making some adjustments that caused a couple of planes to crash and kill everybody. They had like a door blow off, and they've had some the wing panels blow off. So Boeing's had a pretty sketchy engineering record, and this is like not in space. This is on Earth with the atmosphere around us, and it's dangerous enough. Boy, it takes quite a pair to want to go to space in a Boeing craft after their recent problems.
Yeah, you know, every day I wake up, I'm really happy I'm not in the newsroom of Boeing, because that sounds like a very stressful job in 2024.
So how are these guys doing? They're not going to run out of tang or anything, are they?
No, so that's what I think is kind of funny about this headline. It's not a funny situation, but they are definitely not stuck in space. The International Space Station is very well stocked. Every time there is a mission that goes to the ISS, they bring supplies, so it's always replenished. They are in no actual danger. They're not. I like to say it's kind of like they are. Their car broke down right next to a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Like, they're okay. And keep in mind, these two astronauts are very seasoned astronauts, so they know what they're doing. Yes, they are going to miss Christmas, but if I were them, I would be like, you know what? I don't really want to go back on the Starliner. I want to go back on a SpaceX vehicle that has been proven to work many a times. So that's personally what I would do.
Are they going to detach that Boeing Starliner and just kick it down to the atmosphere and see if it blows up on reentry, or what are they going to do with the carcass that they leave up there?
I actually don't have an answer to that. I think that's a great question. I think they're still figuring out what they're going to do, because they're definitely not going to let it explode, because, as I said, NASA put $4.2 billion in. And keep in mind, NASA needs these commercial space companies, this partnership between commercial space and NASA. It is something that needs to be done, because NASA funding is just, it's not possible to operate just without commercial space. So they want it to work out. The path of what they're going to do with the Starliner, I'm not sure, and I don't think that they know either.
That is so wild, how just to get stuck up there in the first place. You know, there's so much that can go wrong. I am pleasantly surprised to know that there's not going to be any issues with them running out of food or air. You know, oxygen is an issue. Also, like something that comes in mind, whether you're in an RV or you're on a cruise ship, you know, something has to happen with your waste. Don't they just float that on a spaceship? Like if, you do your business instead of like holding on to it, don't they just float that out into the nothingness, the void?
Are you talking about going to the bathroom in space right now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be tactful about it, and I'm really bad at that.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Yes, that's what they do. You know, and they make sure it's been going on for years and years and years. So 2 astronauts are not going to affect the whole International Space Station and like the environment. I think they're going to be okay. But you know, it's going to be a fun Christmas. 2 visitors that you didn't expect.
Right, just a little extra company there for the Christmas party. All right, Danielle, what are you up to with Back to Space these days?
Oh, it's going so well. We're based in Los Angeles now. We moved the show to Los Angeles, and we're in Santa Monica, and people are going to the moon every single weekday and during the weekend. So if any of you guys are visiting in LA, check out the Lunar Light Experience and come visit us.
That's too far. Do you know when you're going to be back in Texas?
I will get on my Starliner and head there now.
That's a great answer. Danielle Dallas Russo, thanks for being on the James Show again, giving us a space update. And man, you know, you think you had a bad road trip before. You had a little bit of car trouble. Maybe you got a flat tire. These people, did it cost you 8 months of your life, your car trouble? Because that's what these poor punks are going through. I feel so sorry for them. Coming up next, a Denton man was killed in a motorcycle accident. There's been a lot of these lately. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the safety issues. Speaking of safety issues with your travel, with motorcycles. Like, who are these people that are like, yeah, I want to ride in the most dangerous possible option for going to point A to point B? That's coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Now, I'm going to say some things that sound like I'm against riding motorcycles. I'm not. I don't think it should be banned. I don't think there should be a ticket against it. I don't think it should be illegal. In fact, the fact that it's so ridiculously dangerous and fatal makes me celebrate motorcycle riding, because in a free country, you should be allowed to do things that are dangerous and unsafe. The constant struggle that we have and any society has when it comes to statecraft is trying that delicate balance between freedom and safety. You can't have both all the time. And you're often being sold as the trade-off for some of your freedom, the promise of safety. But you know where that gets you? I believe it's a Ben Franklin quote. Those who are willing to trade in their freedom for the promise of safety will get neither. And then, you know what? They deserve neither too. That's one of the founding principles. It's one of the things you need to understand, philosophically speaking, when you are entering a human experiment like a constitutional republic like America. By the way, the oldest democracy on the planet right now. We have the longest running constitution on the planet right now. Seems to be working pretty good. This whole freedom over safety. If you learned anything from the coronavirus overreaction, it's that your safety, your freedom sacrifices for the promise of safety were all garbage. They were all for nothing. When they closed down your church, when they closed down your kid's school, when they closed down your business, so you wouldn't transmit this, so we wouldn't run out of masks, and we wouldn't run out of ventilators, and we wouldn't run out of hospital beds, all for naught. All of those trade-offs, all the trading of your freedoms for the promise of safety, you never got it. Everyone still got coronavirus. Everyone still got it. 99.8, 99.9% of us still lived through it. We wrecked our economy. We now have to pay $16 for lunch every day because of the dumb mistakes we made when we were scared for our safety and we're sacrificing our freedom. We're still paying for those mistakes today. Make no mistake about it, whenever you see the next inflation number and it's still high, whenever you go to the grocery store and it's 30% higher than it was 5 years ago, it's because we made these mistakes when we were scared. So I just wanted to get all that preface in before I talk about riding motorcycles. Now, riding motorcycles, really dumb. Just logically speaking, from an individual standpoint, it is so unsafe that even a butthead like me, just a libertarian, hardhead, disagreeable punk like me thinks you're crazy if that's your bag. Now, you should still be willing to do it. I don't want to make it illegal. I don't think there should be a helmet law. In fact, I celebrate you guys over there with expressing your freedom in such a way, being so dangerous. I love having you out there because you motorcycle guys give me so much ammo. I'm against seatbelt laws. Why? How come I have to wear a seatbelt when I'm in this car and I crash? I actually have a slightly higher chance of living than this guy on the motorcycle who doesn't even have the seatbelt option. How come he doesn't have to wear a seatbelt? So I guess you don't have to wear a seatbelt while you're driving because motorcycle people don't. And I love you for that because it's a good argument. How come I can get pulled over and get a ticket for operating a vehicle without wearing a seatbelt, but motorcycle people can't? Well, it's not so everyone's in a seatbelt, and it's not so everyone's safe. It's so they have another excuse, another lever of power to exercise over you, citizen. You lost your freedom there to roll around, and you decide whether or not you want a seatbelt on. You've lost that freedom now. You gave it up. Did you get safety? Not really. Not when the guy next to you on a motorcycle. Not when the cop pulling you over on a motorcycle doesn't have to wear one. Another thing about motorcycles, you people took on the helmet laws, and you were right. Now, you're right for the wrong reasons. It's really dumb to ride a motorcycle without a helmet. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. And it's such a dangerous endeavor, riding a motorcycle, period, that if you're going to ride it without protective gear, you're into a whole nother level of insane risk taking. However, I believe you should have the right to take that risk. Maybe you don't like your life. Maybe you'd rather die, or maybe you're suicidal and this is just, hey, I might as well have as much fun as possible while I'm at it. Maybe you just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So you zoom around on a Harley at 80 miles an hour in the rain. It doesn't matter. You're going to die anyway. Maybe you're old. Maybe you've done all the fun stuff in life. You should have the right to go out and do dangerous things, whether or not it scares other people and other people think that's unhealthy. That's too dangerous. That's not safe. Good. Every time you see someone out there doing something that's not healthy, that's not safe, that bothers the panty waist busybodies that are always trying to regulate your freedoms away in exchange for safety, good. I hope it bothers all of them. Hope they all lose sleep, because I don't. I celebrate you. Go be crazy. Go do fun stuff. We let people climb up the side of mountains and fall down and kill themselves. We let people go hiking up Mount Hood when there's a blizzard and you have to go rescue them with a Coast Guard helicopter. We let people try and go across the Atlantic Ocean in a sailboat. We let people do all kinds of dumb stuff. And stupidity is not a reason to take away your freedoms. It's not a reason to take away your rights. It's one of the arguments I have. I know I'm in a small minority on this, but it's one of the reasons why I support legalization of all drugs, just everything, fentanyl, whatever. Well, James, there's some dumb people that are going to go get addicted to pills or oxys or heroin or whatever. Fine. Our freedom is more important. That's understandable. There's going to be dumb people and people that are just intent on killing themselves. They'll find another way to kill themselves, whether it's a motorcycle or whether it's pills or whether it's rock climbing or I want to go down the rapids or I want to go off Niagara Falls in a whiskey barrel, whatever it is. The dangerous stuff needs to all stay. The dangerous stuff is proof that we still live in a free society and we can still make our own decisions, whether or not someone else thinks it's safe. That's why I support motorcycle driving, while I would strongly recommend against it at all times. Thank you very much for hanging out with The James Show. If you need more, I'm about to go put up the podcast. You can check that out at WBAP.com and the WBAP app. Next up, Mark Levin is going to take over. And I want to remind you, we have the Dallas Heart Walk and the Tarrant County Heart Walk coming up for the American Heart Association. Go to DallasHeartWalk.org, TarrantCountyHeartWalk.org. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.